Hey everybody, it's Serenity ASMR. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I thought I would do a how-to video on how to get set up with mods in Stardew Valley. This is also going to be my first soft-spoken video, so I hope you guys will enjoy that. All of my other ASMR content has been whispered to date, so this is also something new for me. But I've been following the Stardew Valley community pages on Facebook, and I've seen a ton of questions from people about getting started with mods, how you go about getting started, and also what the most popular mods are to download, what people would recommend if you're just getting started. A lot of people want to know what mods are good if you don't want to be like too cheaty when you play. Things that are more like for convenience but don't really change the gameplay a ton. So I'm going to run through how to set up a Nexus Mods account. I use Nexus Mods myself, and I use the Vortex mod manager, which is the Nexus Mods program that manages the mods for you. I would recommend that for somebody that's a beginner with mods, just because once you're on the Nexus site, it works pretty seamlessly with Vortex. And it kind of does the work for you, installing the mods in the appropriate place. You can install mods manually, but if you're just getting started, I wouldn't really recommend doing that, because sometimes you're messing with gameplay files and you may find that you might mess something up with your data in your game folder. So my recommendation would be to use Nexus and download Vortex. So that's what I'm going to be showing you today. This is the Nexus Mods homepage. So the first step that you would want to do if you're going to use Nexus Mods with Vortex, the mod manager, is you can get the download for Vortex right under here. If you do the mods drop down and then you go into Vortex mod manager, you can download it. You will have to set up an account on Nexus Mods. I'm already logged into mine, so I don't need to do that step. But when you hit download, it's going to prompt you to set up an account or register if you don't already have an account. So that's step one, is to set up an account with them online and then do your download for Vortex. I will show you guys Vortex in a little bit, but for right now I just wanted to show you the Nexus site here. So once you have Vortex downloaded, then you can start looking at mods that you might like to use. I'm going to go into the Stardew Valley profile here. When you get into the Stardew Valley page here, you'll notice that there are mods here, and these are just the most recent ones, new today, the ones people have uploaded most recently. But if you're looking for mods that are really popular that a lot of people use, you're going to want to go to the popular all-time tab. This is going to show you the mods that have been downloaded the most. And you will see that SMappy is number one on that list. That's because SMappy is the mod loader. Basically, SMappy will run in place of your Stardew Valley base game, and it allows you to use the mods. It's the framework that makes the mods work. So that's going to be the first thing that you need to download. So I'll go ahead and click in this. I already have it downloaded, but you can see the files. Normally the most recent one is going to be at the top, but usually there's a pretty good description to tell you which one you need to use if for some reason you, like for this case, if you're playing on a legacy version of 1.5.6, you need to use this, but in general, usually you're going to use the most recent. So once you have downloaded Vortex, if there aren't a lot of game files, you can just go right into the mod and click download through Vortex, and it will start the download in Vortex for you. So just for an example, I will click into the SMappy download through Vortex just to show you. It's probably going to pop up with a prompt that says that I already have it installed, but just so you can see what it does, we're going to go ahead and click it here. They do want you to sign up for their premium paid service. I obviously do not have that. So if you're using the free version, you're just going to want to click slow download. If your internet speeds are good, then the download speeds are capped at 3 megabytes, but it really doesn't, especially for Stardew. Most of the files aren't very large. It does not take a long time. So it should pop up in a minute here. In Vortex. Here we go. And yeah, so this one's prompting me to tell me that I've already downloaded. Do I want to download it again? I'm just going to say cancel in this case. But if you haven't downloaded it, it's going to go right into your downloads and start here. It should download very quickly because, again, that file size for the Stardew files is not very large. If you're playing other games, some of the mods can be like several gigs and it will take a little bit longer to download. But in this case, they don't take very long at all. So depending on how you have your settings set, I have my settings set so that when I download a mod, it automatically downloads and then enables it, so it's all set to go. You can change that by going to your settings in here. If you don't, I think it doesn't default to automatically enable mods. So when you download a new mob, it's gonna be it'll show up as disabled like this when you first download it. And then you're gonna have to enable it. Sometimes it'll pop up and say that you need to deploy mods. To do that, you can just hit the button up here to deploy, and it'll make sure that everything that you've downloaded is in the correct load order and it's deployed properly so that each thing will work. So that's basically the process to download something from Nexus if you're going to have it come into Vortex. The other thing that I always recommend that you check when you're getting started is this requirements section. SMappy does not have any requirements because it's a base mod. But if a mod does have any requirements, it's going to be listed under here. You can see that there are a ton of mods that require the SMappy file. As far as I know, pretty much all of them do. But let me go back out to the mod page here out of SMappy and see if I can find one that has some requirements. Probably any of these are going to show SMappy. So let's see. So I'm going to click this to expand it. And this one you can see requires SMappy. So if you go to download something and it does have a requirement, I'll show you what this does. It's going to give you a pop-up that says this mod requires such and such a mod to run properly. So if you don't have downloaded something that's a requirement, you can click the link right here and it'll open a new window for you to go ahead and download whatever that mod requires. So it is I think it's pretty straightforward to use and helpful in that you can see the most popular mods listed on that page. So you can kind of browse the popular mods and see what you think you might want to use. I personally do use some of them are a little bit cheaty, but I try not to use a lot of stuff that's gonna change the gameplay too much. I do not have Stardew Valley Expanded installed. I know a lot of people use that, but that adds a lot of additional content to the game. I haven't done that yet just because I haven't really gotten through all the content that's available within the base game. So this is something that if you're an endgame player and you've already played through the whole thing and you feel like you've done everything, this might be something to check out because it says it adds 260 character events, 27 new NPCs, 50 new locations. It really expands the game quite a bit. A lot of the ones that I use are more just for convenience, like NPC Map Locations will show you NPC heads on your map so you can see where people are and you don't have to remember their schedules. That's one that I would say is a favorite of mine. I love that. So convenient to be able to see where people are on the map. Let's see what It's the farm type manager. I have that installed because I installed a farm expanded, which is a version of the standard farm that's larger, and this was required for that. Generic mod config menu, it's sort of a convenience. It adds a user interface to be able to set settings for different mods. Look up anything is another convenience one that I love. It says see live info about whatever's under your cursor. So if you hover over something and hit F1, it brings up a window to show you information. So it will show you, like if you're hovering over an NPC, it's going to bring up a window that shows you their loved gifts, liked gifts, when their birthday is, how many hearts you have with them. So that's really helpful too. It can also show you if you hover over, for example, a fish in the community center bundle. It will bring up the same info menu and it'll tell you when you can catch them, the time of day, weather, that kind of stuff. Things that would be available on the wiki, but you can see it in game. So that's also really helpful. So I'm going through just the ones that I currently have in my game. Automate, I am using that and I love that. That's where you can place a chest next to a machine and the machine will automatically pull raw materials from the chest and push process items back into the chest for you. It's super helpful if you're setting up a string of barrels or kegs and you want to have things go into it automatically. You can put the fruit in the chest. You put it in the chest and it will automatically pull them in once the kegs are done or the barrels are done, and then it will put the finished products in the chest for you. There are a lot of settings within that so that you can use, say you wanted to have tappers on a group of trees and you wanted the tappers to empty into a chest. You can set in the settings so that it will connect via any kind of paths. Like if you put down a cobblestone path, you could set it so that the cobblestone path will connect the trees to the chest. So you could run cobblestone between your trees and then that will connect to your chest and empty your tappers into your chest for you. It's super convenient. It's a huge time saver. I really enjoy that one as well. The tractor mod, I have not used that. I know that's a really popular one. It says buy a tractor to more efficiently work with crops, clear twigs and rocks, etc. I think you can, if you have debris on your farm, you can ride the tractor around and it will do it for you. I don't know if it tills soil. I personally have not used it, so I'm not sure. I must have downloaded it at one point because it does say update available. But I don't remember ever using that one, so. Skull Cavern Elevator is another one of my favorites. The Skull Cavern Elevator is just what it says. It gives you an elevator just like the regular mines where every 5 floors is saved in the Skull Cavern. That's probably one of the ones that's like the biggest cheat I would say that I'm using, but it is really helpful if you're trying to get down to those lower levels where you can find a lot more iridium and more valuable treasure items, prismatic shards and that kind of thing. The further down you get in the Skull Cavern, the more of that stuff that's going to generate. So the elevator is super useful as long as you don't have a problem with feeling like you're cheating, because it is a little bit cheaty, I think, on that one. UI Info Suite is really helpful for it. It says it provides helpful information about things around you, designed to help you be aware of what's going on without feeling like you're cheating. I'd say that's accurate. It shows you, like you can see this picture here, the sprinklers. It will show you the coverage area for different things, like a sprinkler, how many squares it covers. The scarecrow, the range for the scarecrow to make sure you have all your crops covered. To me, that's really useful and just a convenient thing to be able to see how many squares something is covering. It also will tell you, if you hover over crops, how many days left a crop has. Actually, I'm not sure. I'm second guessing that. I'm not sure if that's UI Info Suite or if that's Look Up Anything that tells you. I think it is. It says here, learn a villager's favorite gifts, when a crop will be ready to harvest, how long a fence will last. So, okay, so that one is Look Up Anything. that tells you when your crops are done. The UI info suite, I guess, just shows you like ranges and that kind of thing. I probably should go and show you my list in Vortex to see if I'm missing anything. Oh, chests anywhere. I am using that one. That one's really handy too. That one's a little bit cheaty, but super helpful. It basically gives you access to your chests from anywhere. If you hit, you can configure the key you want it to be. On my game, it's defaulted to C for chests. So if I hit C, it opens up an inventory menu, but there's a drop down for all of your chests. So you can access your chests from anywhere. You can also access chests that are in other locations. I can show you guys this, how it works in game a little bit later. Also, I'll show you the automate and some of the other mods I have too. But it's really handy if you're like in the mines and you filled up your inventory. You can open your chest menu, drop things into a chest, and then free up room in your inventory. It also saves you a lot of time on your farm. If you, for example, you don't want to go in your mushroom cave to collect things. If you have a chest in there, I'm using automate, so all of my mushroom bins empty into a chest, and then they also go into the dehydrator. So there's a chest there, everything dumps into the chest and then goes into the dehydrator as well. But I don't have to go into the mushroom cave to get into that chest. I can use my drop down, find the correct chest. You can label them, and then you can pick things, collect things like finished products that you want to sell. Same thing with if you have the auto grabbers installed in your barns, you can do the same thing. Pull your items out of your auto grabber and have it go into a cheese press or a mayonnaise press to make finished products. So that's also super convenient. I think that's most of what I have. Let me switch over to Vortex so I can show you what that interface looks like once you get to that point. When you first load Vortex, you're going to come to your dashboard. You can see I have my profile set up for Stardew Valley. If you only are modding Stardew Valley to start with, then there should be a default profile set up for that. If you have other games that you play, like you can see I have recently managed games here. These are other games. So you're going to have one profile set up at a time. You don't need to worry about this if you're only doing Stardew. If you have other games, you may need to switch in between. So if you were switching to, say, Skyrim, for example, I can hit activate, and that's going to bring up the Stardew profile, or the Skyrim profile, excuse me. So in this case, my Stardew profile is already loaded. Here is my current mod list. I think a lot of these I've already run through. But I do have a couple of cosmetic mods. Well, actually, this may be the only one. Oh, no, visible fish is another one where you can see the fish in the water. It doesn't change the fishing mechanics at all. It basically just shows you what type of fish you can catch. So if you can't remember that you catch a largemouth bass in the mountain lake, for example, you will see them swimming around there, so you know. It's kind of helpful if you don't want to go into the wiki all the time to look up the fish. You can see where they are in the water. Doesn't change the mechanics at all as far as catching the fish. There is a pretty popular mod for skipping the fishing minigame, because I know the fishing is notoriously hated by a lot of people. So that's an option. If you are one of those people that hates fishing, you can skip the mini game and it just, I think, automatically catches the fish for you. I'm not sure. I've never used it myself. And this one is considered a furniture mod, but this one is decorative trees, and I will show you guys what that looks like in game, because I'm going to show you my modded larger farm. This one, the farm extended, gives you a new take on the standard farm. It's much bigger. I'll show you what it looks like a little bit later. I think instant buildings from farm. This is a newer one that I installed, and this is definitely a cheat. This is where you can open a build menu and build things right on your farm without going to see Robin. So if you're one that does not really want to do cheats, that would be one I would skip, I would think. this one's another one, instant tool upgrades. You can go to Clint's and he will upgrade your tool instantly. You don't have to wait the 2 days, which is super convenient. But again, some people might feel like that's a little bit cheaty. I don't know. I love it because, you know, especially if you're doing something like a watering can, you don't have to wait. You don't have to plan for it. You can go, you still pay him the gold. He just gives it right back to you immediately. So, limited cooking campfire. That was one that was required by I installed a mod for a small beach farm, which was another custom map type for a farm. So that was something that was required to have a campfire out in front of this farm where you could cook. Look up anything NPC. We've already talked about these ones. The elevator, Stardew hack. I'm not sure. That's the only one I think that we haven't talked about. I'm gonna have to go into Vortex to see what that one is. Where it must be one that was required. I think it was required for the farm extended, possibly. Wear more rings is another one that's a little bit of a cheat. It allows you to wear more than 2 rings. It's customizable in the UI where you can set how many rings you want to be able to wear. But I had a very hard time trying to decide of only 2 ring slots which rings to wear. So I thought this was kind of fun to be able to wear more. I don't know how many slots it allows you to have. Let's see if I can see. Configure the amount of ring slots in your inventory. By default, it adds 6 additional ring slots, but I think you can configure it to have more. Let's see. Oh, it goes all the way up to a max of 20, which is kind of ridiculous. I don't think I have it set to 20. It also has an option to give you a bonus trinket once you've unlocked trinkets, where you can have 2 spots for trinkets instead of just 1. Oh, this mod requires Stardew hack, so that might be why I have that one. So that's my mod list. These are a lot of the ones I'd recommend you try if you're just getting started. NPC Map Locations I would highly recommend. Look up anything. UI Info Suite. The chests anywhere and automate are also really good. I will say with automate, I would caution. You have to really pay attention to what is connected to what, because if you say you have a chest with like mining items in it and you want it to process your ore with a furnace, if you put the furnace next to your chest, it will keep pulling in your ore as long as you have coal in there for it to cook in the furnace. However, if you also place quartz in that chest, it's going to cook all of your quartz into refined quartz. I have made that mistake before where I had to reload a day because I put a dinosaur egg into a chest and it made it into mayonnaise, and it was my first dinosaur egg and it was really upsetting. So you just have to be, if you're using that, it is super handy, but you just have to pay attention to what you're putting in the chests and what connects to what, because sometimes you can accidentally process something that you don't want to. I think next I'm going to go in game and I'm going to show you guys my extended farm. And then I'll run through a couple of the mods so that you can see what it looks like in game. Okay, so I do want to mention too, when you go to get into the game, once you've downloaded mods, you don't want to click on your Stardew Valley icon on your desktop or through Steam. You're going to want to load SMappy, the mod utility, first, and then that will launch the game for you in the modded state. It's also nice if you already have games that you don't want to be affected by the mod, you can go in and start a brand new game if you want with your new mods. And if you're running it with SMappy, it'll load the mods. If you run your regular version of Stardew, it's not going to load the mods, so it won't affect your other saved games, which is nice. So I'm going to just show you what this does when you launch. You can launch it up here, or you can launch it here, either one. It doesn't matter, but it's going to run SMappy first. It will tell you if there's any mods that need to be updated. It'll show you here. Like I had some warnings. Let's just take a look at that quickly. So it's telling me I can update one mod Also, as long as you have Steam open, Steam achievements will still work with the game. This is telling me that I don't currently have Steam running. Steam achievements won't work because Steam isn't currently loaded. So as long as you have Steam running, either in the tray or you could open it before you start, the achievements and stuff will still work. So I'm going to have to go back and look to see what the update is for that one. Normally when I go into play, if I see that there's an update, I close out of the game and go and do the updates first. But for now, I'm just going to continue so I can show you guys. So this farm here is my expanded farm. Okay, this farm's basically a new take on the standard farm. It's just much larger. So I will show you a couple of the things that are added. It sort of adds some of the features of the special farms, like the hilltop farm where you have the quarry on your farm, or the fishing, is it the river farm? Where you have fishing spots. This has an area where there's a dock where you can fish. So this is a quarry. Anything that shows up here basically matches up to the levels that you've gotten to in the mines. So I've gotten all the way to the bottom of the regular mines, so it's going to give me every different type of stone. You can see I've got one of these, what are they, like mystic stones or something? But if you're just starting out and you've only gotten to the top level of the mines, the ore that you find here is going to match to where you've reached. This little minecart is a shortcut, so you can take a shortcut here. There's one other place where there's a shortcut as well. Between the two docks, there's a dock over here. And if you click on the little boat down here, it will take you down to the other fishing area on this side of the farm. It also has, similar to the forest farm, there's a foraging area down here that has renewable hardwood stumps that show up daily. These ones, and then same thing, there are forageables that will show up daily. So I thought I wanted to try this farm because it's gives you some advantages where you have access to hardwood every day. This little forest area has a shortcut. It does, when you first start the farm, it has one of those large hardwood logs that you need an upgraded axe to break. But it does go to the secret woods, which is nice. I'm getting beat up by a slime here. So you can't really get into the secret woods any sooner than you would be able to in the regular game, because you do have to be able to break the big log there. But it is a nice little shortcut. Probably should have used my little, I've got one of these little totem things that warps me back to my front door. I forgot it was here. So the other thing that I really like about this farm, other than the fact that it's large, is these fences are permanent and they keep your animals in this area. They can't go out anywhere else, which is really nice if you've got animals like pigs where they're leaving truffles all over. They're always going to be in this area, depending on where their barn is. This is an example of one of the CP nano trees that I said was the cosmetic. I guess it's technically a furniture mod, but there's some really cool trees that you can buy from Robin. I will run up there in, it's Tuesday, so I can't run up there. I'll have to do it later. I will show you guys what the selection of trees looks like that you can purchase from her. So to show you the chests anywhere mod, you can see here, this one's called chest number 5. There's a drop down here. You can label your chests by going into the little dialog box here. You can rename them into whatever you want so you know what's what. Most of these I have given names that are, identifiable. I have a keg shed over here with all my kegs set up. So I can go in and pull out things that are finished. I don't have auto grabbers yet. I think I just received the letter from Marnie saying that I could buy the auto grabbers from her. So I have not yet put them in my barns. But when I do, I'll be able to access the auto grabbers and pull eggs and milk out of the barns without going in. Of course, right now I don't have the auto petters, I haven't gotten any of those from the Skull Caverns, so I still have to go in to pet my animals anyway. But if you're further along and you've leveled up all the hearts with your animals and you do have the auto petter, it makes your animals very low maintenance. Unless you just enjoy petting them, which, you know, sometimes I do. I can go into my fish ponds from here. Here's the mushroom cave, like I was mentioning. I can go in here and grab things or put things in here if I've collected them. I have produce going, fruits and vegetables that are going into preserves jars down here. My cellar casks, the same thing. I can go in here and pull out anything that's finished or put cheat new items in to go into the casks once they're available. You can access all of these from any location, so that's the really nice thing. That's the part that makes me feel like I'm cheating a little bit sometimes, is if I'm in the mines and my inventory is full, I don't have to be on my farm. I can press C and go into whatever chest I want, whether it's, you know, where all of my mining stuff is or whatever, and I can put all the stuff away in there. So that's really nice, especially if you're somewhere like the Skull Cavern or in the regular mines, the volcano. If you get to the point where you're on Ginger Island, you can still access all of your chests at home and put things away. So it's really nice. One of the other things I didn't mention about UI Info Suite is these little icons at the top. This is really, really helpful. It will tell you the weather for the day, so you don't have to click on the TV. It will have an icon if there's any recipes from the Queen of Sauce on the TV, so you know up here without clicking the TV if you have a new recipe to watch. It will tell you if it's someone's birthday for the day. It also tells you what your luck is based on the color. If you have a bright green one, it means it's really good luck, and then down to like, I think it's gray, is like you should just stay home, whatever the lowest luck is. It also will tell you if the traveling merchant cart is there, which is great. If you remember that it's Friday and Sunday, that's good if you remember to go, but it's kind of a nice little reminder to be like, oh, I should go see what she has. I try to buy as many of the rare seeds as I can from her, so it's nice to be able to remember when she's there. Okay, I want to show you guys too the little the UI Info Suite. This is what it shows you for the like sprinklers, the coverage area, so you can easily set up your grid. It does the same thing for the scarecrows. Let me show you. It will do this. So basically this is showing me the coverage area for all of the rare crows that I have right now. And I can tell that all of my crops are, you know, well covered. So that's a pretty handy thing as well. This is what it looks like, the wear more rings. Again, I'm not that far into this game. I'm only on year 1, so I don't have a ton of rings right now, but I have, what do I have? 8, 10 slots. You could have 20. They would go all the way across here, I think, if you use 20. And then you can also, if you're playing on 1.6 and you have trinkets unlocked, you would have the ability to have 2 trinkets instead of just 1, which is pretty awesome because the trinkets are super helpful if you guys have played in that version yet. Here are, this is the UI Info Suite options. It has its own little menu. So this adjusts what you can show up here. Show your luck. Show level up animation. Oh, that's another thing I didn't mention, which is really nice. When you are doing different tasks and leveling up your experience, it shows you the exact amount of experience that you're gaining each time you do something. So it's really helpful to know like which items will give you the most experience. Like if you're trying to level up foraging, you might not know that chopping the hardwood stumps gives you plus 25 XP. But if you use this mod, it will show you that. And it also has a little experience bar across the bottom as you do things to show you how your progress for each. It pops up for whatever item you're doing. So if you're farming and harvesting crops, it's going to show your farming skill on the bottom there. Experience gain, that's what I was just mentioning about. It shows a little above your head. It'll show you the experience you just gained. Birthday icon. heart fills, show when animals need pets. That puts a little hand above your farm animal so you know which ones you've petted for the day and which ones you haven't. That's also very helpful. Let's see, show calendar billboard button. Oh, that's one thing that I really love. I kind of forget. Once you start to use a lot of mods, you sometimes forget what things do what. The calendar billboard button is really handy. It gives you the little billboard that you normally would have to go to Pierre's store to access. So you can click it here and it brings up the calendar and it shows you the help wanted board as well, which to me is a huge time saver if you don't have to walk over to Pierre's to check that every day. Let's see what else it says here. Crop and barrel times. So UI Info Suite also shows you the amount of time left on something, which is really nice to know as well. Sprinkler ranges. Show item hover information. That will tell you, like, if you hover over a crop with your cursor, it will tell you how many days it has left to grow. Powder melon. If you have fertilized the soil, it will also tell you that what fertilizer you used there, which is helpful. I think I saw the traveling merchant. You can change this so that if you've visited the merchant, it hides the icon. It'll go away. So you know she's there, but you visited her for the day. It'll show you the weather that's coming up. Show shop harvest prices. That's info you can get from the crops. It'll tell you how much the items are worth. New recipes. That's when you get the little icon for the Queen of Sauce. Yeah, so this does a lot. It shows you gifts that you've given people, Robin's building status if she's working on a building, tool upgrades will be up here. So you get a little icon for Robin if she's building a building for you. It'll tell you how many days until it's done. Same thing if Clint has one of your tools, you get a little icon for Clint to say that he has whatever tool and when it will be done as well. Usually there's a pop-up the day you wake up when it's finished. It'll say your item's ready. But it's helpful to have the little icon on the top as well. So that one really does a lot. I didn't mention a lot of that when we were looking at it in Vortex, but it does give you a lot of really useful information. Okay. If you scroll all the way to the bottom of your options, there should be a mod options as well. So you can change settings for things that you have, for anything that you've decided to install. I'm not going to go through all of this, but this is where you would change things like wear more rings. How many rings do you want to wear? Do you want the bonus trinket? I didn't talk about NPC Map Locations, but I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, I didn't talk about the NPC Map Locations yet either, so that's what this looks like on the map. You can see not just your player head and your horse, but also where all the people are, which is really awesome, especially if it's somebody that moves around a lot and you don't want to memorize their schedule or go and check the wiki every time you need to locate somebody. I find this to be awesome. It's one of my favorites. It's so simple, but it really improves the gameplay, I feel. Okay, I'm going to also show you quickly what the visible fish look like. I don't think I have that set to show on my farm because I didn't like it because your farm has more trash than it does fish, and it also shows the trash. So I turned it off to show only in other locations. But so here's what visible fish looks like. You can see in here we have a bunch of perch and pike, I think. I think those are perch, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's pretty helpful if you don't know what types of fish you can catch where. Okay, everybody, so I was going to show you the CP Nano trees, decorative trees, on my game. In the first one I was going to go to Robin's house and it was Tuesday. I went into another game thinking, oh, I'll just load it in a different one, and it was a festival day. So I'm just going to show you some of the images on the Nexus Mods. thing here so you can kind of see what some of them look like. There's a whole bunch of different ones you can purchase. I think there's some with like swings. They're really neat. But I just wanted to make sure I showed that to you because I said I was going to show you in game and then it was just not working. So I thought that was something fun just if you're looking for a different way to decorate your farm. So that concludes my tutorial / show and tell for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this or also found it very informational. If you haven't checked out any of the ASMR content, I have a whole bunch of Stardew Valley playthroughs, so please check that out if you're interested. And also I have other playthroughs, Minecraft, Skyrim, so check out some of the other content that's on the channel. And consider subscribing if it's something you'd be interested in watching in the future. Thank you so much if you tuned in today to watch. If you have any questions, if you feel like I left any information out that I should have covered, or if there's just questions that you were left with after watching, feel free to leave a comment and let me know, and I'll do my best to answer any questions anybody has. And again, thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.